8,
You're watching The
7,
Experience, Comic Culture, and
6,
Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey everyone, you are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. So today, Des and I are going to do something a little different. We're going to tell you about some books that we think you should be reading, as well as all the number ones we got lined up for you from DC, Image, Mad Cave, I believe we're going to be doing. We haven't reviewed a Mad Cave book in a while.
Yeah.
We got a great show for you lined up. So watch the intro and come back. Hey everyone, you are watching the Geek Chat. Oh my God, we're switched on The Experience.
Damn you, JD.
I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And you are watching on The Experience, one of the only places you can get comic book TV every day, all hours of the day. And our Thursday lineup is great because why? We're in it. So Des, why don't you tell them what today's variant is going to be?
Of course. Well, today's variant, my friends, is a little known duck by the name of Uncle Scrooge, and it's his number one, Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. It's a 1 in 25 variant by the one and only Walt Simonson. We are going to be reviewing this a little bit later. It's pretty interesting. But if you are a classic Disney fan who read Uncle Scrooge, or you like DuckTales or anything like that, this is definitely going to look great in your collection. As always, please put in the hashtag experience EXP TGC variant. All spelled out, and it should be scrolling across the bottom right now. So please do that. Hi everybody, welcome in.
Hey everyone. Hey Steve, I actually did have long hair at one time, but maybe not that pic.
No, I was teasing him. He looks a lot like one of the Allman Brothers. So
I got a lot of wizard at work.
I could see it too. Hey,
hello,
Paul,
Preston. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Preston. Yes, that is the correct whatchamacallit?
Hashtag.
Entry. Yeah, hashtag. Please remember that you can only enter if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Welcome in, Canadian Survivalist. And the winner will be announced at the end of the show. And please note that if you've already won within the last 30 days, please do not enter because you will be you're not eligible to win. So please, if you already won, let someone else have a chance.
Yes, Alan Moore. I do miss my long hair. I miss having hair. Period.
Good evening, Meat Wad. I don't miss having fit. I do miss having hair as well, but it is what it is.
It is.
Speaking of losing hair and time changing, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is just how long we, the two of us, Rich and I, have been doing the Geek Chat.
Yeah, so I go to my Facebook memories every night. We watch, we go through the memories. And this image came up in my feed, and we have been doing the experience, or we've been doing the Geek Chat it was 8 years ago. We hit our 100th episode. That was 8 years ago, 100 episodes. And I asked Des last night, is that counting the radio shows? And I believe it was counting when we did. We started off doing the Geek Chat. It did not count it?
No, because we started doing the Geek Chat as a radio show in trying to think. It was the mid-aughts. That was 2016. So 2015 is when we started doing the show.
But we were doing that in my first location on Castro.
Yep.
I don't remember why I was wearing the Spider-Man mask. I have zero clue.
I don't know why. I think you were celebrating. You used to wear masks all the time. You wear your Magneto mask. You wear your, no, you never wore the Thor mask. Coog wore the Thor mask, but the Thor helmet. But
I
yeah,
had the Iron Man helmet. I collect helmets and things. It was for an X.
yeah. Well, all I know
know.
is we've been doing this for a very long time, and it's super crazy that we continue. And I know that we're like, I lost count. I have all of those archived, all of our old episodes. I have them archived, and if you ever want to listen to those old episodes, you can on SoundCloud. Just go to SoundCloud and search the Geek Chat, and they will pop up, and you can listen to us back in the mid aughts when we were very, very silly. And yes,
Those radio
Paul.
shows were crazy.
It was for a class project. At the time, I was a broadcast major, so we had to do a radio show, and so I still want to do something silly. Oh my God, he put it up
what
there.
He found.
Oh Lord. Ugh. And so we did another live show on something FM. It was a radio show that we did live beforehand, and then we went to pre-recorded because it was easier. So yeah, it was a lot. We did a lot of crazy stuff in order to get this to you. But now we're here, on the experience. We're happy to be back.
Yeah.
Mr. X, I could see him being that, wearing a mask and
with the X.
Yeah.
I would wear that.
I actually read X, the Dark Horse Vigilante. I read a lot of interesting stuff when I was younger, and I was still am a huge Dark Horse fan. So
fine.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I just want to remind everyone to go to comicshoppingexperience.com. That is the experiences page. You can find out what is on when. You can see the different shows and sign up on the mailing list.
Yes, please sign up. Support these shows because they're literally here just to sell stuff for you. It's to talk about stuff. We really are trying to build a community here, and you were all part of it. So
thank you for watching us.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to talk about is what you normally do is the TV, movies, and news.
Oh, look, they have the Exp Live. Oh. That's new. I'll have to update my notes.
Yeah, so we can definitely go and check out. Yeah. Hi, Kenneth. Welcome in.
Hey, Kenneth.
So the EXP Live, or the EXPLive.com. So definitely go over there, and I'm sure there's it aggregates everything that you can look at. So definitely go there and check it out. But first, Rich sent me a message and said, "Hey, have you watched these cartoons on Netflix?" And I know Netflix has a lot of anime, and it has a lot of hello, Leonard Peck.
Hey, Leonard.
And I was just like, what? No. And he's like, I want to talk about him. And I'm like, okay. So you got to remember, Rich is like a classic cartoon fan. And so when this new Bingo stuff came along, some of it he doesn't like the Cartoon Network stuff. Some of it he doesn't like, because it's a little too silly, I think. And then there's the stuff that's like adult comic book or adult cartoons or animation, and these two definitely fall squarely into that realm. So the first one he wanted me to watch was Blood of Zeus, episode 1 on Netflix.
Because volume 2, I guess, either just dropped or is dropping soon.
Yeah, I think it just started.
So we got a message that Blood of Zeus, the next season's dropping, and I was like, I haven't watched the first one. So we go between cartoons and game shows. Like, we watch a bunch of really random stuff. I have a hard time getting into long, drawn-out dramas. I do not enjoy them. I like, I am used to half-hour comedies on major networks. That's what I grew up with. So we watch a whole bunch of different half-hour, 45-minute shows. And then we got this. And I was like, okay, let's watch one. And out of the two we're going to be talking about, I prefer this one
I knew you would. Oh my god, I knew you would.
over the other one. So this is a straight up demigod story in which Zeus fathers this child. The child and the mother are told to
Ostracized.
leave. They're ostracized. The worst things are done to them. And then he finds out that he is the son of Zeus. And
One of the many, by the way.
right. I enjoy the animation style of this. I think that it's very classic.
It's very bloody.
It's very bloody. I also love that.
Yeah. Lots of blood. The demons that they fight are really cool.
And I like the way the gods are reinterpreted. And it's, it was a fun. We're on like episode 4 or 5. And I was like, I want to see what Des thinks of this. What'd you think of it?
So, it is a tale as old as time, to quote the song, of a heroic demigod who goes on a quest for the gods. It was told in Clash of the Titans. It was told in the Iliad. It was told in all of these various different Greek mythology stories. So this is no different. About that, his impetus of going in. What I did like is how they introduced these demon-like creatures that are threatening to take over man's world. And the reason why this is happening is because there were former titans that were around, and then they trapped their souls, and then they washed Poseidon, drowned them all, and then the people, one of the giants or one of the titans washed up, and they, one person touched them and got possessed, and it got crazy, and then they started eating people, and blah, 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 blah. So they basically ate of the flesh of the titans and became demons, and they are trying to now destroy all this. And so Zeus is trying to not intervene, but he wants to let man do it. However, Zeus being Zeus is, plotting and doing all this other stuff and giving him little hints and secrets and stuff to help him out on his journey. So while it is nothing new, I have to say the animation style is very clean. It's very fluid. Not a lot of choppiness to it, and it kind of, what I liked about the first episode is it really got to the point. It didn't waste your time. It was like, here are the protagonists, here are the villains, here's everything you need to know. Go.
I like that it hit the ground running.
Yeah, it really did.
It didn't meander at all. It went right to it and got right to the story.
Yeah.
Bam. And I have to agree. I like the twist on the Titans. I thought that was a really good little twist on how demons were made in this world.
Yeah. And
so
it's fun. We added it to our to watch list, so we're definitely going to watch the rest of them to see exactly what is going on. And
so, have any of you guys watched this? Have any of you watched any of these these episodes?
Let us know.
Did you like them?
We would love to hear your thoughts, or any other animated shows on Netflix or Max or anything that you think that we should check out. Please do.
Now,
I wanted to no, hold on. I wanted to ask before we go, real quick. Did you or did you not watch Godzilla -1 yet?
So I texted Des a couple of days ago because Coog really, really, really wants to watch this. And for a couple days, he would be like, I'd be like, what do you want? We'd sit down after doing everything. We'd sit down for the night. And I'd be like, what do you want to watch? He'd be like, Godzilla. And I was like, oh, I don't want to watch it right now. So he asked me like 3 days in a row. And then I texted Des. I'm like, what do you think? And he wrote out these long paragraphs breaking down.
I did a too long, didn't read version 2.
But I am glad you did it because they both went me. I don't know if I want to watch this. So I don't know. So experience, no. there's not a lot of hot ripped guys half naked in this at
No,
all.
it's mostly just the animated violence of people getting their heads chopped off and
Yeah,
laser beams coming out of people's mouths and blowing up mountains. So
crazy,
it's
crazy.
yeah, it's just a bloody mess. That's the thing. So again, you did not watch it yet. Okay, I'm telling you. I'll say it again, like I said it twice before. Watch it dubbed. You'll thank me later. You should really watch it though. Yes, it will get boring for you because of the drama between the people, but Godzilla is definitely worth it. Please watch it. I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, there's a ringing endorsement from the experience.
You do have to get ready for some hardcore depressing before you watch it. Yes, yeah. I told him, I was like, look, it's a character study about people who are basically rebuilding their lives after World War II, while this giant atomic lizard keeps messing their stuff up over and over and over again, and they get fed up with it and take matters into their own hands. So that's literally what it is. Yeah, lots of crying though. So just get ready.
All right. So our next one that I had him watch was I don't think there is enough drugs in the world.
It was so good.
It's good, but it's so trippy. It's very trippy.
So it was Scavenger's Reign. And again, another tried and true story of stranger in a strange land. That's literally what it is. These people are in space freighters. I mean, they're basically like space truckers, really. And they get off the fleet and they basically pods. Something happens, malfunction. Pods drop them on this weird alien planet, and there's three people or three groups of people separated out in these life pods, and one of them decides to try to make connection with the main ship, the mothership. That way they can bring it down and get the rest of the people and some more supplies. That's the first episode. But the thing that pushes it over, okay. So the experience says roommate wanted me to watch, but I've never liked Trippy for Trippy's sake. That's the difference. It's not trippy for trippy's sake because this is the natural flora and fauna of the planet that does wacky crap to you. And it's about these people who are having to adapt to this new reality, this new nature. And what's crazy is some of the things that they do, like holding the bioluminescent bug, tapping them together to make a light source, putting their hand in that weird fish-looking thing, and then it gets big and pulls them up out of the it kind of like makes a balloon. So it's like they know how to use this planet's resources in such a weird way that the planet itself is just bizarre, but they don't see it as bizarre because they see it like it's just something normal that they know
that
how
they got to
do.
work with. Yeah.
And I really loved that because of how they were able to interact. Oh, and that little creepy thing that the guy that got stuck in the tree, and the weird creepy thing that was using its telepathy, and they had that weird psychic bond, and the feeding
tube was just the weirdest thing. So this show is just, we're watching more Blood of Zeus. We're gonna go back to this because I gotta see it. I gotta see how this happens, how it ends. But it's a little, it's out there. It's the brilliancy of it is the people that created the show. They must have been tripping balls on mushrooms or something, because your imagination for this is at above a 10.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Oh yeah, when she starts hallucinating, when you can't breathe it, and then she takes they have to capture these like weird insect bug things, and they kind of like pop them open and they put them on their mouth
to their face. Oh,
it was just it reminds. No, I don't think it was not Ralph Bakshi stuff. It reminds, you know what it reminds me of? I guess maybe the animation was a little bit Ralph Bakshi because it's really, Paul said it reminds me of Ralph Bakshi stuff. I think that the animation style is very, yes, Jabroni Chief, it does have Nausicaa vibes from Hayao Miyazaki. Yes, it is a combination of Hayao Miyazaki's Nausicaa Valley of the Wind and Mobius's style of John Giard Mobius.
Oh, I definitely see yes.
I mean, it's very minimalist, but when the tentacles and the stuff, like there were these flying things that basically landed on something and melded to it. Just the way it looks was so fantastical. And I think that's the thing that's really crazy, is because when you're watching it as a viewer, you're watching this thing and you're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. But everyone in the cartoon or the animated, the cartoon acts like it's a normal Monday. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff that they're seeing. And it's like, okay. So unfortunately,
you liked this.
Unfortunately, yes, I did. I loved it. Unfortunately, though, this was originally on Max. That's why that's the original header. It was originally on Max. Max canceled it. Oh, welcome in, Shoka Black. They canceled it, but it was picked up by Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix. And given how well if it does well, Netflix will give it a second season. So right now, there's only one season.
Watch it.
Yeah.
Licking Toads. That is kind of the idea within this world.
Yeah. And you really, and the thing about it is it's like, okay, so you have the one guy that is dealing with isolationism, and then he has this weird tree telepathic thing that he is walking around with, that they have this weird symbiotic relationship. Then you have this other lady and her robot who makes these weird mistakes because it has this weird goop in it in order to make its computer work better, but it keeps messing up stuff. And then there's another couple, a man and a woman, who are trying, they're the ones that brought the ship down, and they're trying to make a escape. And so since they got the ship down, they're all converging onto where the ship is. So they're all not working together, they're all working separately to get to this end point. And I think that's what's so cool about it, is because each one of the three experiences are going to be drastically different.
Yeah.
Oh, and the thing that's crazy is it's all like organic circuitry. Like they use like organic weird stuff to make cables in order to power something. So it's like the organic creatures and the fauna and the flora are able to use interchangeably like components. It's really weird. It's and I think that's what's really cool about it, because they just know how to do this stuff, and there was like no crash course or anything. So you're kind of like dropped into the deep end with it. Yeah.
And the people on Earth think they're dead. That's the part.
No. They didn't. They didn't think they were dead. They just thought, they said, we hope that they're dead, because most likely the giant corporation is not going to go after them.
No one's coming for him. That's what it was. Yeah.
And that was so sad. So sad. Yes, it's similar to Geiger's Biomechanical as well, but not as dark. You have to imagine that all of this stuff is the color schemes are very pastel, and it's very organic. Imagine it just being organic. Everything is like this hyper organic look to it. It's really experiences kind of like Tetsuo from Akira grew on the. Well, no, not the weird baby Akira. I mean, it kind of does, but no. But anyway, great show. Definitely check it out if you can. I definitely will be
glad I told you to watch them.
Actually, the weird thing about it was I saw a clip of it. On like Instagram or something, and people were saying this is really kind of cool. And then I was just like, oh, that's cool. Then I kind of forgot about it. And then when I started watching it, I was like, oh my God, is this that thing? And then it really was. And I was like, oh crap, I should have watched this a long time ago. So thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So we're not going to review The Alkalite because I think it's one of the most boring shows on TV.
You're killing me.
And we want to talk about The Boys, but someone hasn't caught up on it yet. So
we did watch My Adventures of Superman episode 5.
Oh my God, yes.
And Kara is here, and her and Jimmy Olsen really got a crush on each other. I thought that was really kind of interesting, because out of all of comic book fandom, I really thought that like no one has ever made Kara and Jimmy an item. No one. and until now. And I've always thought, if you're Superman's best pal, Jimmy Olsen, and you know everything about him, would it be kind of, I mean, it just seems kind of like maybe, why not? Like, why not having his best friend date your cousin? Like, that seems kind of like, I think that would make for interesting stories. So the fact that it kind of happened in this one, while I wasn't expecting it, I knew that it was something that I would enjoy. I just loved it. I just absolutely adored it. I thought that whole scene at the beginning. I mean, the whole B story with Clark being on the dating show, that was just like silly. But
what wasn't silly was Hank Henshaw being on there,
yeah,
and being an anti-alien. That was interesting, and I'm wondering. It was funny when they said that name. I looked at Coogan and I was like, "You know who that is, right? That's Cyborg Superman."
Mm-hmm.
So, is he going to cyborg up to fight the alien? Like, I am enjoying the show for the twists on the Superman mythology.
Yep.
And I love that they're taking inspiration from the 75, 80, 90, however long history of it, and they're building a new storyline using it. And that is one thing I have to agree with Shoku Black. I am not a huge Superman fan, but what they're doing in twisting the mythos for this, I'm loving.
Oh yeah,
I am loving it. And
So-
I want to say,
go ahead. That's right.
the image that DC and Max have put out for this show, I love the misdirection.
Yeah,
I think that was one of the best. So they haven't lied to you. He finds her. It might not be that way, but the way they did it,
yeah. Her
twist,
being a pseudo villain was kind of cool.
it was so good.
And at
I'm
first,
loving this.
At first, when they showed the picture of the last episode at the end of episode 4, I thought that was the Eradicator, and I thought that he had intercepted the transmission. He was coming. I didn't realize that was Kara. So when I saw that it was Kara, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then that whole situation was great. The fight scene, her being controlled by Brainiac. Well, not controlled, but kind of Brainiac raising her.
What's her father?
Yeah, I think Brainiac raised her. And he's trying to, for some reason, bring the glory of Krypton back. See, stuff like that I think is really cool, how they're just tweaking it just a little bit to make it great. Last thing I'm gonna say is, I keep thinking, well, how are they all gonna get into space? How are they gonna get a ship? And then I just look at Jimmy. Cha-ching!
That little meter will go down.
That's what's gonna make him poor. I swear.
He'll probably have like $1 left
after going into space and saving, Clark and all this other stuff. Great show. If you're not watching it, you're really, really missing out. It's fantastic. One of the best animated shows right now, and I really hope that this really jazzes people up for Tim Guns.
Make
Gunn.
it work.
I know, right? For Gunn's Superman. So please, I hope they're able to keep this longevity going, because I really hope so, because this has been really good. So
yeah.
But yeah, so it is time for our first break. So please stay with us. Go get a soda, use the facilities or whatever, but please come back, because we have talked about comic books, our favorite comic books that you should be reading. Talk to you in a minute.
Bye.
Something is speaking to you. Just at the edge of your perception. Your senses fill with visions of vortices. 360 Comics. Slowly drawing you to one thundering epiphany.
360 Comics!
360 Comics!
The universe is telling you to shop with 360 Comics. Joe's got amazing stock, from high dollar to $5 books, from Silver Age to modern, CGC, variant covers, and more. 360 Comics every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, part of The Experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Des.
And be sure to head to, well, it's called The Exp Live now, to sign up on the mailing list, see what shows are on. You can find The Experience on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Be sure to follow The Geek Chat on Facebook. And we're going to do something a little different in our second segment. Instead of giving you some number ones, Des and I want to tell you about some books that we think you should be reading. So I'm up first, and I love anthology stories. I used to love Marvel Comics Presents back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that it gave you 4, 5, 6 different characters. Sometimes they were the most unknown characters. You know, it was a one and done 6-page story. Loved that. One of my favorite ones, the Wolverine one. There was a bunch of different stories, but like the Wolverine one, the Cyclops one done by Ron Lim was always fun. And then Action Comics Weekly back in the late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Action Comics, I believe, started out as an anthology series, went through a lot of incarnations, did Action Comics Weekly for a while. And again, it was 2 or 3 stories. So I was reading probably Wonder Woman. I only read a few DC books, and there was a house ad for Brave and the Bold, and it was like Nightwing and Deadman teams up, and
Kelly
Booster
Jones.
Gold. What?
Like Kelly Jones is doing the
Yeah.
art. You're like, ah.
So I was like, oh, and I told Cougar, I'm like, do you think you could order that for me? So we ordered it after it had come out, and I got 14. I don't know if 14 is this week or last week or whatever.
14 is this week.
Is this week. Okay, so I read 13 and 14, and I was like, oh my God, we're back to doing something I'm interested in. There's 4 main stories, and then one done in one story. And it's in Batman Brave and the Bold, and it starts with number 13.
That's the current one with that's the current one with Nightwing and Deadman.
Yeah. So 13 and then 14 came out, and that's it. That's the cover, and all the covers are done by Simone DeMeo. So the Nightwing and Deadman story is written by Tim Seeley and art by Kelly Jones. I love me some Kelly Jones Deadman. I mean, that is the best.
Yeah.
They call it Time Jerks, but it's the Booster Gold is written by Mark Russell. In the first one, in 13, it was an Artemis story, which led into the Amazons. And in 14, it's a Flash story, just a little done in one. But one of my favorite Green Lanterns teams up with Batman. Guy Gardner is back. I love Guy Gardner.
And Batman.
Love Guy Gardner. And Batman, and that's The Invader. And that's by Joshua Hale Falikoff. And Lissandro Esteren was the artist. Again, great art. The art in these books are top notch. They really are top notch, but art. And then there's Perp Walk, and that is a weird black and white story about Batman. And so far the 2 issues have been a guy kills the Joker for Batman. It's a really weird story.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about this is that, I mean, it isn't cheap. These are $8. They're $8 stories. But you get a lot. Like, you get a lot. And if you like anthology stories, especially, I know a lot of people, there's 2 minds. I either can't remember what goes on month to month, or there's people like me that I just can go into a story and be like, oh, I can read this. Don't need to know anything. If you love Nightwing and Deadman, pick this up. If you like Booster Gold screwing up time he meets the Jurassic League. So last year, I think we talked about it on one of the shows.
Yeah.
I love Jurassic League. I love Elseworld stories. So if I get a whole Justice League made up of dinosaurs, I'm there for it. And Booster meets them and then screws up time to where humans go extinct instead of dinosaurs. So he's the last human left, and he does not care.
It's very strange.
Skeets is like, you're never going to go on a date. He's like, what do I care? And the thing that gets him, you're never going to be able to eat a cheeseburger again. And Booster's like, nope, got to fix time. But it's Booster, so he's really not going to fix it. He just F's it up again. I'm loving these books. I cannot, if you love DC characters and don't want to commit to a monthly title of one person, pick these up. Of course, it's Batman Brave and the Bold, so Batman has to make an appearance. But the first story is about Nightwing, which goes into...
Hey, say hey to Easy Reader and Barlord. Welcome in, guys.
Hey, Barlord.
Before we go into Nightwing, I just want to say, I think a couple weeks ago I was talking about like Batman family stories and those old anthologies that DC used to do. This is like this would be considered that type of stuff. And I think Rich really kind of hit the nail on the head that if you don't like it, it will cycle out into something else that you might like. And I really wish that there was a lot more marketing push behind this, because these are the type of books that DC and Marvel should be putting out to, one, launch new artists and writers, and two, to give a little bit more backstory to maybe some lesser known characters with one tent pole propping them up, like Batman. That's why it's called Batman Brave and the Bold. I think all that stuff, yes, and if you like it, put a ring on it. I think that is a really good way for them. I mean, DC and Marvel to really start peppering the water in with new talent, new blood, and stuff like that. So,
well, they reserved the new blood for the... Oh my God, what are they called at Marvel? Those
Rising
books.
Stars.
Oh no.
I mean, that's one of their initiatives, but I don't believe that. I think something like this would be really perfect for like an up and coming writer. You give them, what, 8
pages.
8 pages. Well, you give them a total of like 24 pages spread out over 3 books. That way you're easing them into it, and then they're able to kind of possibly carry their own comic book, weekly or monthly. So
it's a square bound book. It's very expensive paper. Like, they're putting money into this book. I miss the old, everything was newspaper, but I miss those old really thick books where you'd get like 7 or 8 stories in them.
Yeah.
And they were really inexpensive. And now you're paying for it.
Yeah, it's funny. I went a couple like weekends ago. A friend of mine, who lives in Oakland, was like, he walks a specific way, and he walks by a comic book shop, and he's never been in it. He knows that I like comics, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to like take me around to some comic book shops?" And I'm like, "Sure." So we hopped in my car and we just drove around like all around Oakland, looking at different comic book shops. And his eyes are just like, wow, oh my Lord, we've got so many cool people. And he was just surprised at like the paper texture, what it looked like, that there were adult comics and, this and that. He was just like, I'm sitting here trying to tell him everything as I'm going through. But it was pretty funny. I haven't had that experience in a very long time. So definitely find a friend who doesn't know anything about comics and drag them around to different comic stores. They'll love you. So the one that I think that you should be reading is Nightwing 115. Fantastic. You should start with 114, as it is the beginning of the fall of Grayson. And this is a revenge story, 100% revenge story. And this is one of the crux issues of what happens or why Nightwing is in the Alps. We reviewed it, Jabroni Chief and I, when he was a guest. We reviewed it together, and the story is great. It is Tom. Let me pull it up real quick. It is
Tom Taylor.
Yes, Tom Taylor is the writer.
And Bruno Rinaldi, is that how you say his name?
Rinaldi. I'm sorry, I had it all written down. I'm trying to pull it up. I think I write everything down the way I'd have to do this, what Richard does, but that's my problem. I didn't do it. So Bruno Rinaldi is the artist. Caio Philippe is the inks for a couple of the pages, and then it looks like Bruno Ronaldo did his own inks. And the editor, the colors was by Adriano Lucas, and the letters was by Wes Abbott.
So who's on the cover?
That is the villain of the villain, and his name is Fatal or Fatal, and
Fatal.
yeah, and he has framed Dick Grayson for being this master villain when he is actually the villain, but he basically drugs him. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but he drugs him and places a gun in hand at the scene of a crime. So everyone believes that,
How does Nightwing get drugged?
You have to read it. Sorry, it's Heartless. It's Heartless is the name of the man. The villain is Heartless. So what's interesting about it is there was this huge elaborate scheme to basically fight. Sorry. No one knows that Dick Grayson is Nightwing. This guy, Heartless, wants revenge on Dick Grayson. So that's what you have to remember. Wants revenge on Dick Grayson. And when they stage this big thing that happens during this gala, they're able to inject him with something in the confusion, knock him out, and then as they take him to the EMTs, he's taken away, and then a great chaos ensues. But in doing that, they find his domino mask, and that's when the villain realizes that he is Nightwing. And there was the EMT, his accomplice, and someone else. And so when they figure out that he's Nightwing, the accomplice, the guy who's working under Heartless, immediately kills everybody in the room, because no one else can know that he is Nightwing, because this is his secret to know. It was really interesting. And so it doesn't change anything. He basically still frames him, and now we're going to pick up after, I'm assuming after Dick Grayson escapes, and they'll try to clear his name. It's just a very interesting story. But one of the things that I like about it, the crux I like about it, is Nightwing is acrophobic. He is scared of heights now, so he can't jump off buildings anymore. He can't tumble and roll. So this is a problem for him, because it's basically he can't do the thing that he loves to do anymore, because he was an acrobat. And so this Heartless guy, might not know about that. I don't think he does. So he's just trying to break Dick Grayson. So it's interesting.
It's interesting that Taylor is deciding to break the hero down, much how he was broken down. Oh my God! When he became, was it Rick? Remember that he got shot in the head.
Yeah, and then he became an agent of Spiral. Although the Agent of Spiral stuff was really good. If you have not read that chapter in Dick Grayson's life, you're missing out. That was a great series. Dick Grayson, Agent of Spiral, fantastic book. Midnighter shows up, and some crazy stuff happens with them. But this is really good, and what I like about it more than anything is the fact that it is this is all street level stuff. It's not grandiose like Batman and what Chip Zdarsky is doing. Not that it's bad, with the Zeraner stuff and all that other stuff. This is just Dick Grayson, fighting mobsters, pretty much. I mean, this Heartless guy is just another mobster, almost like Black Mask, and he was able to get the drop on him and find out this stuff. So, and that was so funny about it, is like it never was about him being Nightwing. It was about him being Dick Grayson, because if you've been reading the series, Dick Grayson is the one that has become, the favorite son of Bloodhaven, not Nightwing. So when the guy figures out that he's Nightwing, he just, they just crushes his domino mask, because it's like a phone. They're looking for a phone and they find his domino mask and they crush it, and he's like, this doesn't change a thing. I'm still enacting my revenge regardless. So I think it's fun that it was not about Nightwing. This is not a vendetta against Nightwing. This is a vendetta against, Dick Grayson, and
hence the name Fallen Grayson.
And it's just a really interesting thing when you like parse it out and think about it. Yes, at its core, it is the fallen hero beating him down to nothing. But just the way that we're getting there is really fun so far. It's really fun. It's really engaging and entertaining. So if you want something to read, it just started. This issue just came out, and you can still get into it. And I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. So definitely take a chance.
All right. Hey, why don't we tell them about the variant they're gonna try to win?
Yes, you all can win Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. It's a 1 in 25 by the amazing and legendary Walt Simonson. We will talk about this in our next segment. So if you're a fan of Uncle Scrooge, please, don't forget to put in the hashtag EXP TGC variant. Put it in the chat, and make sure that you're doing it on either YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. Remember, those are the only ones you can win from. But please, I want to give this away. I want to send it out to you all. Yes, it was like $7.99. Like it had a ton of story. It had one big story in it, and then a backup story in it, and I was just like, wait, what? I was very surprised at how much it was. I thought it was going to be more, but we'll talk more about it later. But I want to talk about this book because I know you must have loved it. I just know you did. And that is Destro #1.
So this is the newest line and the newest entry into the Energon universe.
I know you loved it.
Cobra Commander has ended. So this is Destro. It was written by Dan Waters. Andrea Bresen was the artist. Adriano Lucas did the coloring, and Russ Wooten did the lettering. And there was a whole bunch of covers as well. Now the funny thing about
I could have got a 1 in 25 of this too.
I would have killed for it. Okay, so the thing about this cover, let's get into this cover. There is a hand and part of a body of an Autobot on the cover. That is quite telling in this new Energon universe because there's also bat heads and bat parts at the bottom. Really, Barlord. Okay, he did some research for the character.
Exactly, Barlord. I was very surprised at the lineage that he was able to pull out of stuff from the show and the cartoon, that I was like, sorry, the show and the comic book, that I was just like, wait, what? Yeah, really cool.
So experience, you're not supposed to think about how a metal mask, the mouth moves. You just have to suspend all belief in reality by acknowledging the fact that he's wearing a metal mask, but yet his mouth moves. Okay, we just got to get by that. So the story is not so much an origin story as it is Destro is teaming up with Cobra Commander and doesn't want to be told what to do. That's basically what it boils down to, is Destro is using Cobra Commander, because in the Cobra Commander you learn about the Energon, because he goes to the Dreadnoks and the Dreadnoks are mining the Energon. So Destro, being the weapon's creator, finally has a great power source that doesn't go out by the
Tesseract.
The Tesseract. So it sets you. The beginning actually is an introduction to the bats, the battle android troopers, And the problem that they're having is they will shoot anything with a face. It doesn't matter who the face is, they're gonna shoot it.
Yeah, no, it needed field testing.
Yes, this was part of the field test, and they're going into this Republic of Darklonia, and they are taking out the current president of Darklonia, and Destro is inserting his own person of power, who is a descendant to the original throne.
Yep.
All the while, Cobra Commander is ticked off that he's doing this. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you drawing attention? And then we get the twins, and I've always loved the twins. I have the twins somewhere on the stand bar.
That whole scene with Zaymod and Tomax, fantastic. I really hope they get their own series, or we get to see more of them. Those
with extensive enterprises.
Those guys, just the way they spoke, how they acted, what they did, it just these people are like, I have never been so enamored with villains than I have been with these rounds of villains, because everyone, like G.I. Joe, they're G.I. Joe, they're the good guys, but what the villains get up to, and what they do, and what this whole book was just fantastic in the mind, and how the writer got into the minds of these basically sociopaths, and how they justify the stuff that they're doing. And when Zaymod and Tomac were talking about the bottom line and the casualties and all this other stuff, and the expenses, it was just like it was like the best sort of like arms talking. It was great.
Yeah. So Barlord, I am a both. I was both G.I. Joe and Transformers. Mine both mixed. They both mixed when I would play with them, I hope you're reading a lot of the Energon stuff. The way they're mixing the two properties together to make one cohesive universe is really smart.
And they're gonna launch it. They're gonna launch a G.I. Joe.
Yeah, and I love that the cover alludes to the Autobots. My one complaint I have of this book, the art was a little, I will say, messy in places. Just a little. I did not enjoy the art as much as I've enjoyed the art in a lot of the other books.
I have to disagree with you. I thought the way that they drew Destro, and the way that they looked, the way that Zaymod and Tomax looked, the way the bats looked, I thought it looked great. I thought the artwork was really good, and he really sold how Destro moves. The conversation with him and Cobra Commander was just great. Steve says, "Yeah, I never understood that mask. What the hell? I figured Skybound could do an adequate job of explaining it realistically. Nope. It's just there.
It's comic books.
It's just there. It's organic metal. I don't know. So they don't go into it at all.
Not at all. They don't even talk about it. But they do reference the fact that his family lineage has all had the masks.
Yep.
And I liked that.
Long line of folks who destabilize countries for their own profit. I think this was so good at setting up the antagonist relationship between Cobra Commander and Destro. I did not realize that Cobra Commander was over, and it makes total sense that they started off with Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
They ended what he was doing, and then passed the ball off to Destro. Now they're going to pass that ball off to G.I. Joe, just like Duke passed the ball off to Scarlet, and now Scarlet's going to pass that ball off to G.I. Joe. Something's going to happen. We're probably going to get another big crossover or some kind of event this summer that is like the birth of G.I. Joe. We're going to see,
I think maybe
something.
fall.
You think it's going to be fall?
I do, because they're going to announce it probably at San Diego.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I loved is that they brought the Iron Grenadiers in, and I
Oh
think
my
I'm
God.
saying that right.
Yes.
So when they got in, when the Destro's people got in those, so if you remember, I don't know if you're going to remember, but the toys were actually the gold plated. They came out with their own line, the Iron Grenadiers, and Destro had the gold face. Do you remember any of this?
Yes. Yeah,
So
that was like secondary.
I loved when they got in those. At the end, someone's dropping bombs, and they get in their little flying crafts, and they go.
And the Viper tanks.
Yes.
The tanks. Ah, so good. That was really cool. And the Crimson Guard.
Yeah, I love the Crimson Guard. Overall, this was just a very nostalgic kind of fun, but also wrapped up with one of the most violent ones as well. Like it pushed the violence, especially the murder rate. Like you got slaughter in the beginning, you got slaughter in the middle, you got some slaughter in the end.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Void Rivals is the one that kicked off this whole Energon universe. And the story, I'm enjoying Void Rivals because it is a weird, like Preston said, it's a very science fiction-y, but then you get Autobots. Like, I'm not going to spoil who shows up, but Autobots have showed up in this book, and it's I like it because it's like on the fringe of the Transformers without being totally Transformers.
Yeah. I think the thing that an experience that's strange for a cartoon in which no one ever died. Yeah, I think in this one, like no one's really dying either. It's just all the other like ancillary people. So I think there's a lot of cannon fodder. And maybe you can answer this question, Rich. Steve says, another thing that confuses me about Destro is his alleged Scottish ancestry. In the original cartoon, he was always seemed to be an East African warlord to me, especially because of his accent. Again, because of his accent, I always thought that too. I thought he had some Moorish descent or some sort of I'm going to say this probably because it was the 80s, some Middle Eastern sort of accent, and he was a warlord of some kind that was a gun runner. So I think they might be trying to distance him away from that stereotype to something else, which is some completely made up or fictitious sort of ancestry now. Because that I don't know, like I remember his voice being like that in the.
So I'm gonna be honest. When I was reading this comic, I had both the voice of Cobra Commander and the voice of Destro from cartoons in my head as I'm reading it. That was the voices that I read it in.
So same with Zaymod and Tomax. It was crazy, and then I even was like looking at to see if they were going to start and stop each other's sentences. And
I had a hard time. The first time I read it when it first came out. We got it last week, and I was like, I really wish they had finished each other's sentences and talked over each other in the same words. I was hoping for that. But I don't think realistically in a comic book for the poor letter, I don't think that would take up a lot of space for where word balloons go. So I had to when I read it the second time, I thought about it in the way the balloons were placed next to each other.
Yeah.
So like Tomax would start the sentence and the thought, and the way they had it, Zema would finish the thought. Yeah. And it kind of worked throughout. I was just hoping for maybe the little tails to go into both their mouths to finish. That is something pure me as a G.I. Joe baby that just needed that to happen, but I get it why it wouldn't work in the comic books. Now, what's funny is I always thought Destro was black, but they always painted his chest white.
Yeah.
And I was expecting that here, but here he is still white as well. I never understood where that was weird. I never understood exactly where he was supposed to be from. In Barlord, the only changes that they're doing is they're adding backstory.
Yeah.
In Scarlet, the number 1, we get a backstory of her and Jinx, where the comic books or where the cartoon never explored any of their backstories. And in this, we're actually getting a lot of backstories, which again is great for building the universe, because you're building these characters as fully complete characters and not just, Lady J on the cartoon.
Exactly. Yes, and I do agree with you, Shoku Black. He was coded. Like, he was coded. Black coded anyway, and same thing with Piccolo. Yes, and they're taking advantage of not trampling on canon too much. Same thing with Cobra Commander. If you read that.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I really suggest you guys go out and get the trade of Cobra Commander, because it is that good.
Yeah, same thing with
it really is.
All right, folks. So we're going to take our last break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some new number ones. So please stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute.
Twitch. It's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are watching the Geek Chat on The Experience. I'm Rich.
I'm Dez.
So you are watching us on The Experience. We talk about The Experience a lot because we think you should watch all the shows. Just sit at home and watch shows all day, all night. Just watch shows. And our Thursday lineup begins bright and early at 8 a.m. with Jam Comics. They're a bunch of great guys selling you some great books. Then we got the Dan Wickline Show. He talks about things. What's in the Box with Miss Jen? She sells things. You've got us in the middle. Well, towards the end, really. And then after us is Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. And they are a great bunch of artists who sit and draw and talk and have great conversations. So
yeah, they get a bunch of artists too.
Yeah, be sure to watch, and you can head to. I can't call it Comic Shopping Experience anymore. It's now the EXP live.com, and you can join the mailing list, see what shows are on when. So let's one more time tell them about the variant giveaway we're doing.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 25 Walt Simonson exclusive, not exclusive, but Walt Simonson.
It's a variant.
It's a variant.
1 in 25
for Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime.
That does not even look like Walt Simonson at all. The only thing that looks Walt Simonson is his signature.
You know what? Totally expect it's the same. I was very surprised when I looked at.
Like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
not Walt Simonson.
it is. Come
I
on.
mean, it is, but it's not. I was expecting something more along the lines of like a rugged, kind of jagged Uncle Scrooge. Whenever I think of Walt Simonson, I think of Thor. I think of, X Factor. I just don't think of Uncle Scrooge.
Well, maybe that's why. Like, this is he can do animal like stuff too. I mean, yeah.
So we are going to
also
review
Mog
this
and
book
Mel.
next.
Well,
what?
Mog and Mel does they auction off their live drawing sketches too. So you can
cool.
you can actually get some stuff as well. And speaking of Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime #1, that's what we're going to be reviewing first.
Beta Ray Scrooge. That's what I was expecting, Jabroni Chief. So
Beta Ray Scrooge, no.
I'm gonna be real honest. There are way too many Italian names in this lineup for me to pronounce. So they're right there on the cover. You can blow that up on your TV screen or wherever you're watching if you want to see the names, because some of these names are really hard, and I'm not butchering their Italian names.
So
but there's a lot of artists.
Yeah. So my friend, what did you think of this walk down pseudo memory lane?
Good God, it was long.
It was long.
Oh my God. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, okay. So we text each other and we talked about the nostalgia factor of this. So we just got done reviewing Destro. And if you're of a certain age and you watched cartoons, you know who G.I. Joe, Cobra, you know who these people are. You know who Transformers are. You know who Voltron is. I love reading old Uncle Scrooge. I love Walt Disney. I love Richie Rich. And when I was in New York, I found a Beagle Boys comic for $1. It's beat up, but I wanted to read it. And reading it, it's a simple pleasure. There is something about reading an old Walt Disney comic that just gives you a good feeling. It's a short but great read. I went into this book with that feeling, and good God, was I disappointed, because this book there's a lot. There's a lot to it. I don't think if you give this to we should experiment and give it to a child. I think the child will make it maybe 6 pages in and put it down. I honestly think, because it's so wordy. It's more wordy than the old comics used to be. The fact that it is Marvel's first. So I don't know if any of you look at variant covers. Marvel has been doing a cover variant program for the last couple of years of these like what ifs. So it's like, what if Minnie Mouse became
Jean Grey,
Black Widow,
or the Phoenix.
It's something. The Phoenix. It's these weird covers. They're just covers. So this is the first foray into an actual story that is a kind of like a what if, because in this, the story, there is an infinity dime, and this evil Scrooge, who they call the Scrooge above all. Oh my God. The Scrooge above all has to get every dime from every Uncle Scrooge in every universe. This is also Jason Aaron. Now, I gave up on Jason Aaron's year-long Avengers run because it just got to be too much. And my opinion of this book is that it's too much. It was a little too much for me. And the fact that it's an $8 book because they stuck in.
Oh, look at that cover.
I think that's the one we got. We got a variant as well of it. The fact that they threw in the original story where everything diverges from, okay, that's kind of fun. And then I'm reading this and I'm like, I don't remember this book. I really don't remember this book. But you know what the hell? We're reviewing it, and I'm just saying that it was a little long. Like a little long. For me. I know you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, it was the best thing ever."
No, no, but I think you. No, I'm not. But I do think that you bring up a really good point. And the point of a lot of these old comic books like this one, was they were literally just to keep your kids entertained for a certain amount of time. And I think had Jason Aaron took that into mind when writing it, he wouldn't have overwritten it. I think that's the problem with this book is it's overwritten. It's written for today's audience. And I'm thinking, had he just, and I don't want to say dumb it down, had he just edited himself or had the editors edit and really look to themselves and say, well, who is this book for? Why are we putting this book out? And really thought about the target audience, it would not have been as wordy as it was. I think they were trying to get as much out as possible to make it worth what they got, not knowing that had they this is one of the books that they really should have treated like Batman Brave and the Bold, or treated like an anthology book and had other people come in and tell stories. I think what would have been really cool is if they had other older people who had possibly worked on Uncle Scrooge or something like that to really write something in about this whole situation, what's going on with the Infinity Dime or something like that. Like they could have did that, but by making it like this and overwriting it, it really became a slog because it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't fun.
It was not fun. There was no fun in this book.
That's the problem. Is I don't want to say he treated it too seriously, but he overwrote it, and I think that was the biggest problem. Was he literally overwrote it to the point where no kid, like you said, is going to stick around and read all of it because they would get bored with it.
Yeah,
they didn't understand it. Like there wasn't. I mean, even the sight gags weren't all that good. So if they ever do something like this again,
they are.
Oh, they are? Oh, well,
so the next book up is What If Donald Duck Became Thor? We will be reviewing that. That is an actual book.
Who is the writer?
I'll find that out for you.
Please,
can you find out who the writer is?
Please don't let it be Jason Aaron. Please don't let it be Jason.
What if Donald Duck becomes
because
Thor?
Again,
can you look that up?
Can we just? I would love to have if they did it like Spider-Verse, and had different Donald Ducks throughout the multiverse being Thor or something like that. I think that'd have been cool with different stories.
But I want to say one more thing about this book. We reviewed the Turtles book, and I think there's a barrier right now. This has all ages right on the cover. All ages books, if you're going to be competing for a child's attention against a tablet, which is how they're taught right now to read, if you go into a comic book store and you are like, oh, he got it. That's who it is. Plot by Steve, written by some people we've never heard of. Okay. So back to my point. The Turtles book, thank you, Experience. The Turtles book was $6 or $7 book. This is an $8 book. For the entertainment value that $8 will get you, I don't think I would buy this for my kid. I mean, I would
buy the turtle ones.
I'd buy the turtle ones, but still, even that's kind of high. Why is an $8 book an all ages book? There is really a problem when it comes to marketing to the next generation, because we are all older. We are really supposed to be trying to get the next generation into comic books. And there's so many barriers right now. And I think this cost of $8 for this book is a barrier that is unnecessary. Yeah, it has a reprint. That reprint is from who knows when, and it's pretty much paid for itself.
Yeah,
so
it really has.
And is the $8 because it took 5 Italian artists that time to do it? I don't understand Marvel's decisions behind this.
Well, we could have a whole conversation about comic book economics and how much it costs to do certain things versus versus or the concept of value versus dollar.
Right. So Steve
yeah.
Bailing and Ricardo Secchi are unknown names to me.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know about them. So I mean, cool. I'll like it. I just hope that it's a little bit more. It's not as overwritten, and overwrought with stuff. And I think that Jason Aaron was just writing for older fans. Trying to pull in maybe the fans that liked it, older fans that liked Uncle Scrooge, and then bringing them in, and saying like, this is it. But having the Infinity Dime be the main thing and alternate universe type stuff, maybe thought it was cool because it's alternate universes are all the rage right now. So who knows?
And it's also it is the infinity. They love the word infinity. We've had so many infinity things.
Yep.
I don't know. For me though, I would just say, hey, if you are a diehard Uncle Scrooge and love overwritten books, pick it up. But otherwise,
just read the old stuff.
Stay away from it.
Or read the old stuff.
So
okay.
I want to skip that next book.
Why?
Because we have less than 10.
Did you not like it?
No. I want to talk about the last book.
You're killing me. I actually thought it was okay, but
really,
but we'll skip it. We'll skip it. It's fine for the sake. If you want to talk about the other book after, we can do that.
I want to make sure we get to this book. I enjoyed this book a lot. That's why I want to end on a good note. Well, a good note for me. I don't know what you thought of it.
So real quick before we move on, the book that we're skipping was Venomverse Reborn, and the one thing that I want to say that I liked about it is because it is alternate tales. Again. I am not a fan of King Venom, but I am a fan of alternate stories. And I thought the alternate stories that they brought in here were kind of interesting to read. That is why I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the last story the most.
Well, again, the first story was about Venom from the video game. So directly off of Spider-Man 2. So that's that Venom. And tying it to the video game made me like it even more because I like the video game universe. So again, multiverse, this is a good example of multiversal stuff that worked. And I enjoyed it. But we'll move on. Yes, thank you. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to like it, Barlord. Ben Percy, I think he did really, really well. I think he did really, really well in it. And I thought it was just a really solid book because I've been enjoying all of the Spider-Verse books. So to have Venom pop in, I was like, Venom, but I actually liked it. So we'll move on to Galaxy of Madness. It was not on my radar until you told me to pick it up. So
I don't even know. We do our FOCs, and this came on our FOC, and I was like, this actually looks like a lot of fun. And I was like, okay, order it for me. And then when we were trying, he texted me with a bunch of books for today's show, and I was like, I would like to review this because I was interested in it from the solicit, and then I read it today, and I really can't wait for the next issue. I really enjoyed this book. So, Galaxy of Madness is from Mad Cave. I do believe Mad Cave's first book in the Geek Chat. The writer was Magdalene Visaggio,
who we've interviewed before.
The artist and the main cover was by Michael Avon Oming,
who we reviewed a book a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
the man is working.
Morgan Martinez. So it looks like there's a bunch of different covers, an A and a B. Yeah. So this is basically a sci-fi story, and for me, I enjoyed this book because it was very kind of part Legion of Superheroes in the way that their costumes and they each have like a weird different power, and kind of Guardians of the Galaxy in the way that they're not all great friends, but they're a team that works together. And the art, I'm kind of a Michael Avon Oming. Sometimes I like his work, and sometimes I'm like, well,
yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I think I really liked the art style in this. The cover is it's right to the point. This is the team. The story, on the other hand, is a little bit all over the place in terms of trying to understand what the hell's going on. And then you get to the last page and you're like, what the? So
Yeah.
I enjoyed this book.
Yes, lots of hyperscience, lots of pseudo Grant Morrison type of stuff, but not as left field or out there.
And you could tell Mags writes it because there's a couple of things that you can hear her say, like you could tell who wrote this. I don't know. I enjoy reading her work. So okay, that also was another reason why I wanted to pick this book up. I haven't read anything in a while. I say pick this book up. What did you think of it after I made you read it?
I agree with you that it is a bit all over the place and a bit messy, but that I think is part of its charm. And you're not supposed to know what a Magister exam is, or you're not supposed to know what this is, and you're supposed to understand what certain things are via context clues, and that they are super space anthropologists, and that the woman on the right of the cover is some weird force user mother who is in tuned. What was it?
The witch.
Yeah, who is in tuned with the universe that's being bratty. So, and this concept of what is the universe really like? Was it made by a supercomputer? Do they know? Do they not know? Her parents are dead. Are they not dead? Does her mentor, the black guy with the with the giant hair, does he know more than he's letting on? Of course he does. He is the mentor. What is the big black box, and the stuff written on it that they've been looking for, like stuff like that. So again, it plays fast and loose with the rules, and makes it up as it goes along. But most like hyper science books do that, and you're just supposed to kind of sit down and enjoy the ride, and hopefully the writer can make it all make sense as you're reading it. And it did in some points, and in some points it didn't. But it reads like a pulp science fiction novel, and that's what they're going for. As far as Oming's art, I think this is his traditional comic book art style, and to be quite frank, it's not all of it is my cup of tea. I thought his last book that he did, the anthropomorphic Wilhelm, that Joe and I reviewed, I thought that was the more Magnola-esque style that he used for that book drew me in a lot more than this stuff did. But that's just because this is much brighter. It's much it looks like sugar pops and art like that.
Yeah,
so,
I want to say I thought that the colorist colorist Taki Soma, we didn't. I saw that as colorist B. It's weird how they give the credits, but Taki Soma, I enjoyed the hell out of the colors of this book. Some pages were muted, some pages were stark, like at the very end when he's talking to her parents, and it is basically just the figure and then the white background. I loved that. I thought the use of color in this book, right on top. I really enjoyed this book, and I really hope everyone goes out and buys a copy, because I enjoyed it that much.
Lots of pinks and
purples. It's so good.
It's an interesting book. Will I pick it up? I'll probably pick it up in trade. I always support Mags's stuff. I think she's fantastic. If you haven't read any of her stuff, definitely go out and check out. It's really good.
I just wanted to end I'm happy when we end something on a happy note. I'm like, okay, the show's much better, because nobody wants to hear me bitch for
I mean, they
hours.
tune
Oh,
in.
yeah.
So remember what we always like to say. Everyone has an opinion, and they're all bad. So and they all don't matter.
It's kind of not how it goes, but okay,
They
we'll
all
go
suck.
with it.
So,
They
but thank
all
you for
suck. No.
joining us.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, exactly. Frankly, I love it, but that's me. So, and I definitely like he didn't like the Venom book, but I did. So,
Well, no, I just wanted to make sure we got time because we got to do our giveaway. I just really wanted to give time to this book.
We definitely did.
I do.
So,
I love this book.
All right, everybody. You know the time. If you have not already put in your hashtag, the hashtag is right there. Please do so. You got 1 minute. When that clock on my computer reaches 6:28, that's my time, not your time. We will roll this bad boy. So if you have not put in hashtag EXPTGC variant into either YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, please do so now. We want to give this stuff away. It is the variant cover, Walt Simonson, who, yes, Steve, he did do a story in which he turned Thor into a frog, and I think it would be awesome if he did a Donald Duck as Thor story and drew it. You know, I think that'd be really cool, but I don't think he does interior comics anymore. But if he did, I definitely would buy it because
he did that. He did that one page in X-Men 800.
Yeah, he did. He did. All right, JD, roll that beautiful bean footage.
My God.
All these beans bouncing around. Whoa, Steve, you already won. Or it has not. Unfortunately, it has not been 30 days yet, my friend. So you are ineligible. Unfortunately, I'm looking at my list. I love it. All you guys keep coming in. Preston, yes, Preston, you're a winner. Thank you.
We have a winner. Awesome. Hey, so next week, just to let everyone know, we are going to be reviewing Absolute Power. It is DC's newest and biggest crossover. Amanda Waller makes her play against the heroes. I read it. I loved it. I can't believe it. I'm just spoiling it for you. We are going to be reading it. I'm very excited to get Dez's opinion on this book.
I think I'll like it. Seriously, I've been a fan of Mark Waid, so I think I'll like it. Yes, you are somebody, Preston, and we like you. We really, really like you. You're old if you got that. But want to say thank you to everyone. Preston. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We love it when you guys come in. Everyone comes in and does this stuff with us. You make it worthwhile. We do this for you. Please make sure you fill out the registration form. Please stay tuned for Mog and Mel. They'll start at 7 p.m. Our time, which is Pacific Coast, and 10 Eastern. That's over that way. And yeah, what did he say?
It's over that way.
It's over that way.
Walk that way. You'll hit the East Coast. Just keep walking. What the hell?
Oh, he got it. Preston got it. Yes, that's my bad. All right. So that's enough jibber jabbing from us. Thank you so much. I'm Dez.
I'm Rich.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, bye.